You've come to the right place. It is the Slate here on the DraftKings YouTube and Twitch pages. We are happy to be here with you, of course, to wrap up the work week and take you into the weekend with a whole lot that is going on tonight and beyond. We begin on the diamond. Adam Kaufman, Steve Buchanan, Matt LaMarca. Fellas, it's good to see you. Bukes, would you feel more comfortable if you flexed on us real quick? Or, I just want you to be at ease.
I'm totally at ease. I don't need to flex for you. It's readily available on my Twitter page at SBuchanan24. Go ahead.
There you go. Good plug in the process. That's national TV flexing. You could flex on him, sure.
Right, just a minute. Oh my God.
Oh, you did not see that coming.
I didn't.
Oh man. Oh boy, he looks good too. Pulling out the glasses and everything. If anybody has any questions, get them in on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're finding us. We'll do our best to answer.
Unfortunately, I can't see with those on. So.
No, keep them on. It's okay. We'll just read to you. You don't need to read anything. Like you were saying before we came on, sometimes you just know the sport. You don't need your notes. So I'm confident in whatever's up here for you and in here for me and for Bukes out of his rear. Doesn't matter. Either way, let's get into it, fellas, because we have got a big slate tonight. 15 games going on the diamond this evening, all starting after 7:00. Of course, it is a pivotal time in the year. You're fewer than 10 games remaining in the regular season. You got a couple of good division races going on in the National League, the East and the West. Wild card is not locked up, at least in the American League, the NL. We have a pretty good understanding of which teams are going to make the playoffs. We're just figuring out exactly where and who's in the wild card, who's the division leader. But what are you most interested in tonight?
You want me to start?
Bukes, please, go ahead.
I always defer to you, Bukes.
Thank you. Look, there's a lot of big names on this slate tonight, but a lot of guys I'm just not really interested in, especially when it comes to the four guys that are 10K or above. You got Shane Bieber making his return against the White Sox, 11,300. Don't know what that's about, but I am not interested. No thanks. Garrett Cole, who's really been struggling since somebody released a voodoo master on him. Don't want to take credit for that, but again, at SBuchanan24, you can see what that's all about. Since that was released, his ERA and stuff, it ain't looking too good. Frankie Montos against the Astros, could take it or leave it. Jack Flaherty, the opener tonight at 10,200, absolutely not. So the top four most expensive guys, I have absolutely zero interest in. Like, I'm going all the way down to Max Fried against the Padres, who can't hit anybody. Most certainly not a lefty. They have a 152 isolated power against lefties. That's like worse than the average in the league. I am still shocked that the Padres are just flat out. Like, they're not going to take that second wild card spot. The magic number for them to be eliminated is 4. Basically, what that magic number means is the combined wins from the other two teams with the San Diego's losses. So if the Dodgers win 2 more games, for example, the Padres lose 2, the Padres are out. Any combination between that and the Cardinals. That is just so shocking to me. A team that had so much hype, so much going into the season, really an all-star MVP type team. They're flat out not going to make it. They may not even be over 500 by the time the season's over. It's just been an incredible thing to watch. And I'm absolutely going to target against them tonight with Max Fried.
It's interesting, guys. I mean, Bukes, you were just running down, obviously, the teams, the standings, the wild card. I mean, you got one team in the East, be it Atlanta or Philadelphia, that's ultimately probably going to be on the outside looking in here, because I just don't think, unlike the American League, where you've got, 5 teams that are sitting within 4 games, and more than likely, Oakland's not going to get there. So it's really Boston, it's New York, it's Toronto, it's your beloved Seattle Mariners. And as we know, the beginning of a 3-game series tonight between the surging hot in yellow Red Sox, 7 straight wins against the Yankees at Fenway. It's a very, very important series, as we know.
Nothing will heat you up like a visit from the Mets.
Yeah, it worked out, and the Orioles right before that. So we'll see what happens here against the Yankees. We know the Red Sox, if it's up to them, are never going to change their uniform again. In the National League, though, I mean, like you mentioned, the Padres, they're certainly not going to get there into that second spot. The Reds aren't going to get there. The Phillies aren't going to get there. I mean, they're 5 back of the second spot right now. So the Dodgers are going to the postseason. Again, whether they win the division or whether they're in the wild card, that remains to be seen. It's crazy that we may or probably will have a 100-game winner in the wild card play-in. It's kind of nuts, but then it's going to be St. Louis because, Philly, again, I just don't see them, or Atlanta, if it turns out being that club, making up the deficit to get into that second spot. So, these divisional races, the couple in the National League, the wild card chase in the American League, should be some good fun baseball down the stretch here, LaMarca.
Yeah, well, the problem when you're trying to make up games in the standings is that you need the teams in front of you to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not sure the Cardinals are ever going to lose a baseball game again. They've won 13 in a row. They may just sweep the rest of the regular season, run 4-0 through the playoffs. It'll be a done deal. I agree with you. The Dodgers and the Cardinals are getting the 2 wild card spots. The more interesting races are, can the Phillies catch the Braves? And again, I would lean towards no there. Because the Braves are the better baseball team. The Braves have a run differential of plus 115 this season. The Phillies have a run differential of -4. So we're talking, 2 wildly different teams in terms of runs scored, runs allowed. The American League wild card is really where things are interesting. I would imagine it's going to be 2 of the AL East teams. Sorry, Steve. I don't have a ton of faith in your Seattle Mariners.
Dropping 2 out of 3 to the Sox last week was
damn. Who cares? They're 7-3 in their last 10 and won 5 in a row. I don't care what happened last week.
I just mean that's a big difference between where they could have been versus sitting 2 back right now.
This series with the Yankees and the Red Sox is going to be huge. If one team can sweep, it pretty much solidifies their spot, I would imagine, in the playoffs. If they split, then we're kind of just right back where we are. If it's 2-1, one way or the other, Toronto can kind of finagle themselves back into things. Like, I'm not counting out the Blue Jays. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting end of the season. And hopefully we should get some good baseball games this weekend with Boston and New York. I mean, certainly they've played for some things in the past. Like, I would imagine that these will be entertaining games.
Yeah, I mean, people having memories, for better or worse, depending on where you're from, of 78, obviously. I know none of us were alive to see that, but a lot of people talk about it. A potential 1-game play into the actual postseason, the wild card game between Boston and New York at Fenway, would be quite a fascinating thing, obviously, coming up in about a week and a half. We'll see. But Bukes, not to make you feel ignored, but LaMarca, Bukes was already outlining the pitchers that stood out to him tonight. What about you? You were looking at the slate, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a very tough pitching slate, in my opinion. Steve mentioned Bieber is the most expensive guy. The rumor is he's going to be on a pitch count of 50 to 55. So you can just scratch him straight off your list. He's not playable. Garrett Cole then just becomes sort of the best option in this price range by default. He hasn't been pitching, phenomenally of late. His numbers, like his Vegas data against the Red Sox, is not great. 4.4 opponent implied team total. He's only a slim -113 favorite. But he's got no competition in this price range tonight. And, as much as Steve likes to joke that he's put the kibosh on him, and there he is, he's still Garrett Cole. He's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think I'll take my chances with the Voodoo Master, whatever Steve's cooking up over there. Like, if I'm paying up in this price range, it's going to be for Cole. Do you need to go super expensive a pitcher tonight? No, you can probably get away with some cheaper options. But certainly, and I don't even think Steve would argue this point, Garrett Cole has to be the pitcher with the highest ceiling on the slate.
So, Bukes, Garrett Cole has gotten, he was roughed up last time, and then a couple starts ago, he just wasn't good. It was a short outing for him, obviously, only lasted 3 and change. So 2 out of his last 3 outings, he has performed poorly from a fantasy standpoint. People are seeing it on their screens right now. He's gone for basically 6 points or less, with the one good one in between. Obviously, on the year, he's been very good. As we know, a Cy Young contender, maybe even just maybe a favorite. But he does have, and it's not even my bias, it's just fact, a smoking hot Red Sox offense on the other side at Fenway, a team that is playing incredibly confidently right now. What's your outlook on this one?
I mean, there's just a couple of things there that you can't like. Like, first and foremost, you said it, Red Sox offense is red hot right now. No pun intended.
Confident. I didn't
And
have
confidence.
confidence built into my projection. I have to readjust now.
Yeah, adjust your projections accordingly. Confident.
Yeah.
Second, there is some weather concern here. I never like taking pitchers who have the potential to start the game, then they're in a delay, then they come back if they even come back. So
Yep.
there's that as well, because we live in Boston. We have thunderstorm projected all throughout the night, so there's legitimate concern there. He does have the highest ceiling of probably anybody on this slate. You cannot deny that. For as much as I want him to implode, to solidify Robbie Ray winning the Cy Young, because I hold that 81 ticket, I want that more than anything. That's why I unleashed the voodoo master Papa Shungo to do his work against Garrett Cole. The first time I did unleash him, Garrett Cole left with a hamstring injury. So let's see what happens tonight. With that said, even for the struggles that Cole has, and you see the last start here, 5 2/3 inning against the Indians, 7 runs allowed on 10 hits. He still struck out 7. How is that even possible? That you give up all that production, you give up all those runs, but you somehow still strike out 7. Like Dallas Keuchel could pitch a complete game, he'd have 2 strikeouts total. Cole's given up 7 runs in 5 2/3 innings. He still strikes out 7. So he absolutely has the highest ceiling on the slate. In 3 of the 4 games that he's pitched against the Red Sox so far this season, he's gone over 7 strikeouts in 3 of them. So there is that to like. But again, there's a lot of red flags here as well. The matchup is not good. He's at Fenway Park. There's rain in the forecast. I want nothing to do with it. Let's go Robbie Ray.
Yeah, and Bukes, if you do scroll down on that game log a little bit, the final two
God.
that we, you don't need to. I'm just saying, if you do, the final 2, I can read it to the people. The final 2 that we see are both against Boston in July when, both one a very good outing, went for 35 plus points. The other one kind of middle of the road. He had about 16, 17, but the strikeout numbers, like you said, he had basically 20 strikeouts between those 2 games. So is that at least the one element that you feel like is kind of a lock for him tonight?
Of course. I mean, if somebody asked me earlier how I feel about the over on the strikeout prop, I would feel better about taking the over if there wasn't rain in the forecast. That's the only thing that would prevent me from taking the over on that. If this was a normal sunny day, then yes, I would take over 7 strikeouts. The Red Sox are not a team that strikes out a lot against righties, but we're talking about someone like Garrett Cole who can rack up strikeouts regardless of who they're facing. I mean, we're just going through here. He had that 2 against Toronto because that's the game that Papa Shungo came out, so he left early. But then other than that, 7 in 5 innings against the Orioles, 7 against the Indians there, 15 against the Angels in 7 innings, a team that really doesn't strike out much either. 15 against that club, 9 against the Oakland Athletics through 6, 9 against the Twins through 6. Like, he will get the strikeouts. Again, I just worry about the rain if they take him out. And then if, let's say, the delay is over an hour, there's no reason why they would need to trot him back out there. They need to win, obviously, so there is that reason, but you do run the risk of him being sat because the delay was too long.
So LaMarca, and really, it's a question for both of you, but LaMarca, I'll start with you just because Bukes was talking here. With Garrett Cole going against Nate Eovaldi, I mean, we're talking about 2 aces for these 2 teams. Eovaldi, well, he's not going to win a Cy Young, but obviously he has been the most consistent starter on that Boston team all year long. When you go to the DK Sportsbook and you look at the line, it's 9 runs. This Boston offense during its 7-game winning streak has basically averaged 9 runs a game. That being said, the 2 guys that we have on the mound, the weather concerns, if you believe in them, obviously, as Bukes outlined, how do you feel about an over-under of 9?
I would probably lean towards the under. I mean, Eovaldi is probably better than I give him credit for. I think he's just, okay, but there's no denying his results. The problem is he's not typically going to give you elite length. He's more of like a 5-6 inning type pitcher as opposed to a guy who's going to go 7+. Which is what Cole can be when he's pitching well. Still, both guys have excelled at keeping teams off the scoreboard this season. So you look at a total of 9, and my initial gut reaction would be that that's probably a bit too high.
Yeah. Bukes, you agree with that?
Yeah, that's just high for a game that involves Garrett Cole, that involves Nathan Eovaldi. Like, we see some of these obscure totals for guys of lesser talent with a lower over-under. But, this game's at Fenway Park. The Red Sox are rolling right now. I understand why it's at 9, but, that feels like an under game to me.
Is there another game, Bukes, that stands out to you tonight in general, whether you're looking at fantasy or obviously DK Sportsbook?
I mean, look, we've talked about it a couple times on the show here before, but Coors Field keeps hitting unders, and the over-under tonight is at 12. 12 is a lot of runs.
Big number.
That's a ton of runs. For Peter Lambert, who hasn't pitched in MLB in 2 years now. Last time we saw him was in 2019, expected to be on a pitch count. So that means more of the Rockies bullpen, which means a lot of opportunities for the Giants. But the Giants are rolling out Alex Wood, and he's been great. I mean, we keep talking about the Giants are going to regress. The Giants are going to regress. Look, they're in the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. They never regressed. And, we're here on September 24th saying that the Giants are the real deal. He's faced the Rockies 3 times already, given up exactly 2 runs in every one of those starts. No reason to think that he can't do that again tonight. So 12 is just a lot of runs. And the money's on the over. One is minus 115 for the over, only 105 for the under. I'd happily take the under close to even money at that point. Like, I have no doubt that the Giants could put up 6-7 runs and exceed their team total tonight, but I don't see where the Rockies are going to make up the difference.
Well, LaMarca, let's not discount either the fact that, at this stage of the year, certain teams, maybe the Rockies fall in this category. Guys are going out there. They're playing for pride, playing for jobs for next year, for contracts, for whatever. But this is an important game for San Fran. We can look at it and just say 99 wins. They're in the playoffs. Like, why is it? Well, it's important because they only have a 1-game lead in the West on the Dodgers. And neither of those teams wants to get stuck in a 1-game wild card play-in game. So both obviously are passionately after that division crown. So does it, I don't know, impact any sort of, it's easy to look, I guess, at intangibles and want and intensity and whatever. But is there something more
special, right?
Is there something more concrete that you're looking at tonight on that side?
No. I'm with Steve. I like the under here, and betting numbers kind of indicate that. The sharps agree. 63% of the tickets on the over, 96% of the dollars on the under. Big discrepancy. But the Rockies, quietly have not given up. They started the year horribly, especially on the road. We know how bad they were on the road. They were 6-31 to start the season away from Coors Field, but for some reason they kept their players before the trade deadline. Trevor Story is heated up. John Gray is pitching fine. They just went 7-2 on a road trip against the Phillies, the Braves, and the Nationals. 2 of those teams, Adam Kaufman very much need the wins. They were giving their all. They were playing with maximum heart and intensity.
Thank you. Good.
And
I appreciate
the Rockies
taking this stroll down narrative street with me.
The Rockies still beat them. So there's something about this, and not to mention this has been one of the best home teams in baseball this year. The Rockies have been a license to print money at home. If I was going to bet anything in this game, I would just take the 170 and hope that the good times keep on rolling with the Rockies money line.
All right. Good. Glad you did. All right. What about another game that catches your eye here, Bukes?
Hate to go back to, teams that I have, some
investments in.
Yeah. But the Mariners only being 130 against the Angels doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, Jose Suarez has been fine. He's not a bad pitcher or anything, but one thing that hasn't been fine is the Angels offense, and going up against Logan Gilbert, who is probably one of your better tournament plays because he can be one of those guys that can be a ceiling guy if he starts racking up the strikeouts against the Angels. But he also has
I have no problem with him in cash, Bukes, to be honest.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, he's a little dicey for cash, in my opinion.
He's coming off 2 gems. I believe in the talent, and like you said, this Angels offense is trash. I wouldn't feel comfortable with it on a normal slate, but we don't have any sure things really at pitcher tonight.
Right.
So.
No, I agree with that. And, at only 6,400, and which I was going to get to, is he just feels grossly underpriced for the upside that he brings. I mean, like you said, 2 really good starts back to back, 23 DraftKings. Let me pull it up here because, I do share the screen. That is kind of the purpose of it. Sure. But 23 DraftKings fantasy points, 2 starts ago, 25, the next one there after that. Where the heck is he? I'm just going to type him in before I forget my spiel. Bert. There he is. There he is. Look how happy he is. Yeah, 25.4, 23.9. Will you shut up?
Nope.
And obviously his strikeout upside is there. 5 in the last start, 9 against the Red Sox 2 starts ago, which by the way, they won. So yeah, I think he's in a great spot tonight. I wasn't really interested in him in cash, but LaMarca made a good point that like when you're looking for that safe SP1 or SP2, like there aren't many options on this slate. So Gilbert's probably going to be that guy, but I do suspect the ownership is going to follow him as well.
I'll tell you on the DK Sportsbook too, because for anyone that doesn't know, I mean, log in, you get some interesting nuggets, some stats, some trends. Each of the last 5 games between the Mariners and Angels at Angels Stadium have gone over the total. So something to be aware of. And then, of course, you get some of the nuggets that put your head into a pretzel, like the Angels have lost each of their last 11 Friday games against American League opponents with a winning record. So
who takes the time to look that crap up? Because that's absolute garbage. Like
only in baseball do you find numbers like that too.
No.
Some bad NFL trends like that.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, yep. Like Russell Wilson has thrown for at least 300 yards when the moon is in a half crescent or some crap like that. Like, give me a break.
In his blue uniforms for 4:00 games on the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Very good. But what about the lines for this game? Because obviously I mentioned the overhitting the last 5 matchups between these two teams in LA. Does that appeal to you at all? The line is sitting at 8.5.
No. And I mean, that means, it just goes to show over 8.5 is getting even money right now. The under's at minus 120. Like that's where, the money should be, because under 8.5 feels like the play. Because if you like Logan Gilbert to dominate this Angels team, I mean, I'll just be honest, like the Mariners offense is not great. They get a lot of timely clutch hits, and that's why they are where they are. I mean, they're the only team who is in a legitimate playoff contention with a negative run differential. And it's not just like by a couple runs. I think it's like negative 53 that they're at, but they're still in playoff contention because they've gotten those clutch, timely hits. The Angels just have nothing. That's the whole point. Like if it's Shohei Ohtani, after him, who else do you have? Like name 3 players in that lineup for someone who doesn't really follow baseball. You won't be able to give me 3 of them, and Mike Trout doesn't count. So
go ahead.
The Mariners just feel like the play here. I don't mind taking the over on their team total either. For as bad as the offense has been, they're in the top 10 in home runs, runs scored against lefties. Team total tonight's at 4.5 at almost even money. I'll take that, but certainly not taking the over in this game.
Negative 53, as you said, is the run differential for Seattle, a team obviously within 2 games of wild card spot. Meanwhile, in the National League, the currently could be a division winner, but the currently wild card leading Dodgers have a plus 247.
Right. I mean, that just exactly
incredible.
Yep.
It's absolutely nuts, man. You hope they get better in a 1-game play. And if you're them anyway, not so much the Giants, but all right, let's go back to DFS. I know we've bounced around daily and sportsbook. Let's go back to DFS because most of our time has been spent on the pitching. So why don't we get into some of the offense, the bats? Who stands out to you tonight, LaMarca?
I want to wrap up with pitching real quick because
Sure,
we really haven't.
by all
We've
means.
talked quite a bit, but a lot of it has been don't play this guy, don't play this guy.
Okay, so all right, tell us more who you do like then.
This guy
I
trying to
think
host.
I think you're looking at
Alphabetize my DVDs. You guys go on.
I'm just gonna rapid fire these suckers.
Okay.
I think you're looking at Eric Lauer versus my dreadful New York Mets.
Ugh.
I think you're looking at Kyle Gibson against the
Ugh.
Pirates. And I think you're looking at Sonny Gray against Washington.
I could do that.
Those are sort of like the 3. I think they'll be popular. They have some of the best Vegas marks on the slate. I would do those 3 guys, Cole and Gilbert. That's kind of like the 5 names that I like the most on this slate.
Yeah, I think Gray's a fine play against Washington. I have no issue with that. Obviously, Gray has struggled more at home than he has on the road because he pitches at Great American Ballpark. But after a fairly hot start after the trade deadline for the Nationals offense, it's come back down to where it should be. Again, you talk about the Angels only having Shohei Ohtani and that's it. The Nationals have Juan Soto and that's it. And that's really all you have to worry about in that lineup. They're a better team against lefties than they are righties. So I have no problem. Again, somebody who has a pretty good strikeout upside, fairly cheap tonight, 8,600, Sonny Gray. I would be rolling with him too.
So who do you expect either of you is going to be the chalkiest when it comes to the pitchers? We've outlined a lot of good ones, a lot of, potential. I know, Steve, you said you don't love the top, but who do you think is ultimately going to be the most popular tonight?
I think it's going to be Gilbert. I just think he's too cheap, coming off 2 good starts. I mean, like I said, he's grossly underpriced for like what you're getting tonight. Like to be sandwiched in between Zach Davies, who's an absolute gas can pitching in a 7-inning game, and Jose Suarez, who, he's been fine, but like he belongs in like the mid 6K range, not Logan Gilbert. Like Logan Gilbert could easily be in the low to mid 8K range. And I'd be like, okay, that's probably about right. So if I feel that way and he's 6,400 tonight, then that's being grossly underpriced.
Just running some projections over here, LaMarca, too, for, obviously where I like to look at data. You've got Gilbert's obviously, I mean, he's super chalky tonight. Dylan Cease as well is showing up in virtually every optimal build as things stand right now. How do you guys feel about him?
Yeah, the thing is, he's fine. He's going against Bieber for the first couple of innings, which does kind of hurt him from a win expectancy standpoint. The White Sox offense really probably isn't going to fare well while Bieber's in the game, be it 3 innings, 4 innings, whatever. Like he's good, not great to me. That's kind of how I'm approaching him. I think the other guys provide a bit more value. And to answer your question as to who the highest owned pitcher on the slate is going to be, it's probably Logan Gilbert. But if it's not going to be him, I'm going to say Kyle Gibson, just because he's a minus 230 favorite. He has the lowest opponent implied team total. That's kind of, I think that's stuff that drives ownership.
I will say real quick about Cease.
Yeah.
In terms of like ceiling, he probably has the second highest on this slate aside from Cole, because you're not getting anything out of Shane Bieber. You're not getting a full game out of someone like Jack Flaherty. Cease does probably provide that higher ceiling behind Cole, but he also has a very shaky floor. So I think that's kind of why Cease is popping. He's a great tournament play, but I certainly wouldn't be using him in cash.
Yeah, Red Sox took it to him a couple weeks ago. He actually had negative fantasy points, but 3 out of his last 5, he's 28 plus. So, and a couple of games in the mid 30s. So obviously the ceiling is there, like you said. Our pal CEH on Twitch, Gibson or Gray? What do you think, LaMarca?
Gray.
Hughes?
I would say Gray in that one too. Yep.
Okay. Is, we got about, 15, 20 minutes left, whatever it is. Are you guys comfortable going to the bats now? You want to talk more pitching?
Yeah, we can go to bats. Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
you
good.
Drive this train. Go ahead.
I appreciate you. Okay. So let's talk a little offense. May as well go with the studs. We'll get to value. Bukes, who do you like at the top?
I want to talk about pitching some more. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, he's got a flex on you. Don't make him do it.
There's some good West Coast games tonight. Obviously that one in Coors Field there he is. Look at how stealthy that guy is. Look at that. The Giants going against Peter Lambert and the Rockies bullpen. Obviously that's going to be one that's going to be mighty popular. Brandon Belt is just absolutely crushing the ball really since the whole month of September. Like that's somebody that you could have, gone without for the entire, 2020 campaign, but he's really turned it on. He's one of the big reasons why the Giants are in the position that they are. He's smoking the ball right now. It's got great numbers against lefties. And then, like I mentioned, Peter Lambert hasn't pitched in the majors since 2019, had a really rough go of it through his rehab start. I think he made 6 starts through 3 different minor league levels, wasn't exactly doing well. So if he wasn't doing well there, good luck in Coors Field tonight. Dodgers going up against Humberto Castellanos, not to be confused with Nick Castellanos, who hits bombs. Castellanos on the Diamondbacks gives up bombs. So his numbers not that impressive across the board. Hasn't pitched a ton in the majors so far, but I love the lefties going against him. Guys like Corey Seager in a good spot tonight too. So I think the Giants Dodgers is something to definitely look at tonight. But the problem is there's a lot of openers going tonight, so you don't really know what you're going to get out of the bullpen. So we're seeing this more and more as the season is coming down, but there's legitimately 4 or 5 games that has the potential to have an opener followed by a bullpen going tonight.
Where do you fall on that, LaMarca?
I'm going with the Cardinals. I have no idea what is going on with the pricing algorithm. They are just insanely cheap in this matchup. I mean, you've got basically the whole team priced at 3,500 or less.
Yeah.
They're taking on Zach Davies, who has a 5.49 ERA, 6.35 xERA, 5.37 FIP. Basically, whatever metric you want to choose, Zach Davies is bad at it. And you have a team that hasn't lost in 2 weeks. You know, like maybe it's too easy. Maybe they'll be so popular because it is easy to pair them with a guy like Garrett Cole. But I don't know how you pass up a guy like Paul Goldschmidt at 3,300. Nolan
insane.
Arenado 3,400.
Yeah,
Dylan
crazy.
Carlson probably hitting fifth 2,100. Like, it's crazy.
That's insane.
How does Goldschmidt get put at 3,300 when he's got north of 30 fantasy points his last 2 games?
I don't
You
know.
know what? Here's what we say in situations like that. I don't know. I don't care, but don't bring attention to it because I would like to continue to take advantage of that. Right?
That's fair.
Like when the ATM spits out an extra 100, you go, "Oh, how did this happen? Let me tell the manager." No,
This isn't
you take
mine.
it. Right? You take it and you
I did
move
that
on.
once.
Yeah.
It wasn't an extra 100, an extra 20.
You told
Hey,
the
whatever.
manager. You told the
Gave me
manager. Or you
much
took
money.
it.
No, I told somebody.
What's the matter with you?
Honorable human being.
There's only one place where I'm dishonorable, and that's at the blackjack table.
There we go.
If the dealer pays me when they shouldn't have, I don't say a word. They got
there you
enough
go.
of an edge.
Right. You're taking enough of my money. Scoundrels.
Ugh. You guys are great. So Bukes, where are you at on the Cardinals stack then?
I mean, they're stupidly cheap. Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you want to, and it's unfortunate because like this would be great for a night where there's like 2 studs worth paying up for, because it's like, okay, no problem to get these guys in. Like maybe I want to take a Garrett Cole, and like if all was right with Shane Bieber, you could absolutely jam them in with the Cardinals and feel good about it. Like a lot of times when you're paying up for these 2 studs, you're doing it with a stack where you're like, well, maybe this could work out. I hope it would work out. When this one, it's like, what's Zach Davies going to do? Put 6 runs on the board for him before he exits, and then you get the Cubs bullpen. Like, oh, please don't do that. So it's unfortunate there's not a lot of pitching I want to pay up for because the Cardinals would be the stack. This is going to be a situation where you're going to stack the Cardinals. You're going to put a couple pitchers left, and you're like, well, I still have like 4,700 left for the rest of my lineup. So you can get a really good balanced lineup with that stack tonight.
LaMarca, obviously, we were talking earlier, and Buke said on as well, the huge run total between San Fran and Colorado out of Coors, 12 plus runs. We thinking maybe a Giant stack tonight? Is there appeal for you there? I mean, you could fill out half your lineup with Giants and feel good about it.
Yeah, and there's no reason to not consider it. Like Peter Lambert, not good. Coming off of Tommy John surgery, certainly not a guy that you should be afraid of. And they're implied for 7.5 runs. So
Is it 7.5 now?
pretty much 7.5 runs. Yeah, they're gonna be the super chalk. I kind of like the Rockies if you want to go contrarian in that game.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockies should command much lower ownership, and we know that their lineup is much better against left-handed pitchers than it is against right-handers. Guys like Trevor Story have always hit better against left-handed pitchers. CJ Crone certainly better against left-handed pitchers. So like, I think you can make an interesting Rockies contrarian stack if you want to go with the Coors route. If you want to play the Giants, just be prepared to diversify elsewhere because they're going to be very popular.
So who are your favorite Giants there, Bukes? I mean, is the obvious ones? It's Longoria, it's La Stella, it's Posey, Belt. That sort of thing.
I mean, when you say obvious and like the first 3 names you rattled off, like those are not obvious at all. Very weird list to give. Longoria,
I don't think they're
play anymore.
Based on what ownership projections seem to be tonight, those aren't obvious plays within San Fran.
I don't know where you get your information from, and don't give it over the air because it seems to be really bad information. Brandon Belt is the first one that I'm going with out of my projections, normal projection. People.
Okay.
Belt, Bryant, and then probably Mike Yastrzemski too would be my top 3 there.
I would say La Stella. I'll defend you, Kaufman.
Thank you.
La Stella at 3,900 as the leadoff hitter.
I mean, he's at least been better. I'm not claiming Longoria has been good lately. He hasn't, but I think he's going to be reasonably popular.
pretty obvious that Kaufman's getting Action Network stuff, and that's why LaMarca's defending him.
That's not true. It's not Action
true.
Network stuff. That's from the LaMarca brain right there, baby.
And you can bet I subscribe to that. I am plugged in on the LaMarca brain.
I like Lamonte Wade. Lamonte Wade is just like a pretty good player. He's got a 131 WRC plus this season. And he's a left-handed batter. So unsurprisingly, his numbers are better against right-handers than left-handers. He's batting cleanup and he's 4,600. Give me some Lamonte Wade in my life if I'm playing the Giants.
Love it.
All right. Well, we were bouncing around, obviously, between team stacks and studs and value and all of it. Again, we've got you for another 15 minutes or so. So, Bukes, in terms of, again, the bats, the offense, where are you finding value? Is there, whether it's a specific position you're honing in on or a game you're targeting? Where are you looking?
I mean, I think the best overall value you're going to get tonight is on the Twins going up against Jose Barrios by a fellow named Nick Gordon. I don't know what Nick Gordon is doing over the last 5 games, but he's averaging about 15 DraftKings fantasy points in that span, 26, 12, 27, 11, and 3. Kind of bouncing around the order a little bit, but what I do like is that he bats from the left side. If there is a way to get to Jose Barrios, it's to be a left-handed bat. That has been by far his worst split. So he's batting 6 tonight, I believe it is. Yep, he's been moved up to the 6th spot. So obviously the Twins are recognizing they have something going on with Nick Gordon, who's totally a household name, but he's only 2,200. Like, you want to talk about that algorithm, not catching up. For a guy that's averaging over 15 DraftKings fantasy points, he's $200 over the stone minimum of 2K. So that's 100% my favorite value on the night. Would love if he was sitting a little bit higher, but again, somebody who's averaging over 15 DraftKings fantasy points over the last 5 games, 2,200, can't go wrong with that.
Are you wanting, I don't know, multiple guys like that? Or are you thinking more of a balanced approach where most of your bats are in that like 4,500 to $5,000 range?
I'm not paying up for pitching. If I'm going pitching tonight, I'm probably going with Max Fried, and then I'm going with Logan Gilbert. So that leaves me with an average of 4,300 for the rest of my lineup. So I throw Nick Gordon in because I just hyped him up, so I obviously have to put him in. Now I'm at 4,600. Like, I have nothing to worry about. I can do as I please for my lineup. So I don't care. So it's going to be very bad, very heavy on the bats, is I guess what I'm saying.
LaMarca?
Yeah, I don't think you need a ton of value tonight. That said, I will gladly take Dylan Carlson in any sort of side proposition versus Nick Gordon tonight. I will take all of those props. And he's $100 cheaper for what it's worth. So I think that's fine. There are some other, like real cheap value type plays like Brandon Marsh. I know we've come on here and we've said that we like Gilbert tonight, but Brandon Marsh is 2K. He's probably going to be hitting leadoff for the Angels. You could consider him if you want. Like, there are plenty of values if you choose to go that route. I just don't think you need to.
Yeah.
Is there a particular stud that you guys like then? Beyond what we've already talked about?
If we're going standalone stud, Vlad Guerrero Jr., ever heard of him?
Yeah, he's pretty good. MVP candidate, last I heard.
Yeah,
let's go with him.
Could have got him at 14-1 a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that sitting now, by the way?
Oh, I'm bringing it up right now. You bet you I'm bringing it up right now. 7-1 now. So the odds have been cut in half.
What's he up to?
I'm telling you right now, Ohtani is not winning anymore. He's not.
Are you bringing out Papa Shungo or whatever the dude's name is?
I might have to.
I still think Ohtani's winning. I do.
I'll tell you one thing. If Ohtani wins, then it's an absolute sham. It's an absolute sham. Ohtani has done absolutely nothing in the second half of the season to get that award. Like, he's great on the mound. His hitting has completely
Wasn't his
fallen
first
off.
month after the All-Star break absurd, both on the mound and at the plate?
No, it was leading up to the All-Star break.
I mean, he's got like 45 homers, 20 steals, and a 3.5 ERA. Like, I don't know. I would
he's
from calling it a sham.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. All right. So realistically though,
Yeah.
With the odds that are set right now, I'm not talking to you, Adam. I'm talking to the expert.
With
the way that the
can't believe
odds
you
are
called me
right
by my
now,
first name.
can you
Go
shut
on.
up so I can talk to LaMarca? Don't you agree though that the odds are way longer than they should be? Like Ohtani shouldn't be a minus 2,500. That's insane.
Yes. I mean, the case for Vlad, and it's not going to be an easy case, but he lifts the team into the playoffs.
Right.
Comes close to winning the Triple Crown, if not wins the Triple Crown. If he does that, then the whispers start, right? Like you know what? Shohei Ohtani had a season that we haven't seen since Babe Ruth, but his team didn't win. And this guy kind of dragged then those rumors start coming.
What if they don't get in the playoffs?
It's a lot tougher for him to win, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, I don't think it should come down to that. I don't like that whole thing. That's if you miss the playoffs, you shouldn't be winning awards because, tell that to Jacob deGrom. You should know very well, Matt LaMarca, about,
Mike
Jacob
Trout's
deGrom.
a better example, but
that's fine. But with Jacob deGrom, that year when he got the Cy Young and he had 9 wins, 8 wins,
two Cy Youngs, 2 in a row, back to back.
Exactly.
Back to back Cy Youngs.
To me, I get it why Ohtani is the favorite right now, but not at minus 2,500. No way. It is not that much of a stretch because his second half has not been good. It has really not been that good.
So I will defer to you at the plate. Ohtani has been not nearly as good in the second half at the plate as he was in the first half, where he had 33 first half homers. On the mound, he has been better in the second half than the first half.
And that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But if Vlad wins the Triple Crown, you have to give it to Vlad. That's just how I feel. If he wins the Triple Crown, which is so unbelievably difficult to do, I think the last player who did it was Miguel Cabrera. You have
Never
to
mind
give
being
it
22?
Yeah. You have to give it to Vlad. And that's it.
All right. On and we'll get out of here in a few, but on the
let's just check the Cy Young real quick. Oh, look at that.
Please. Well, good. Because I was just going to ask you about props. Any props in general, and I'm thinking more along the lines of what's going on tonight. But if you want to talk about awards and whatever else, I don't care. Have at it. Your show. What props stand out to you?
I honestly this is a tough board. Usually I actually like playing pitcher props more than anything. I don't really like the board a lot. I would probably be interested in it with Max Fried if I can pull that game up real quick if I can find it here. Matt LaMarca, fill some time. Say something.
Yeah, I'm
Say
trying.
something.
I was thinking Logan Gilbert strikeout over.
Oh, that good. Okay, good.
Maybe a little same game parlay action with the Mariners money line, something like that.
Oh, I can do that. Let's do that. Mariners money line, because obviously that's not a problem. No problem. Game props. I don't know if that's going to be in here. Nope.
Probably
I don't see player props. Yeah, I don't see them.
Yeah, batter props. Well, that's
too bad.
unfortunate.
Yep.
What was the over-under on number of times Bukes would tell me to shut up during this show? Did we hit it yet?
No,
I got a couple more left.
Yeah, we got a couple more.
Good. Now, let's make the most of our final 5 minutes. Let's mix in a little football, guys, because it is Friday, and I'd be remiss to not acknowledge that we got another entertaining NFL Sunday on the way. Obviously, a busy collection of games in the afternoon, 13 of them. Is there a particular game, LaMarca, starting with you, that you're most excited about, be it as a spectator or obviously from a betting and daily fantasy standpoint?
Well, I mean, as a spectator, I think we all have to be excited for that Bucks Rams contest. I mean, maybe the two most impressive teams to start the year. The two best teams, two shortest odds as far as winning the NFC Championship. So it would not shock me again if we saw this game again in the postseason. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I think that is going to be an exciting game. And then other than that, we've got a ton of quarterback injuries on this slate. It's going to make the betting stuff a little bit interesting. But one of my favorite teams this week is actually a team that will be playing a backup quarterback. It's the Miami Dolphins. And I get it. They're playing the Raiders. The Raiders have looked fantastic. But one of the best ways to make money in the NFL is to buy low and sell high when other people are doing the opposite. Zig when the others are zagging, so to speak. And buying teams coming off of a blowout loss like the Dolphins, historically very good. Teams coming off of a loss of at least 35 points the following week, 65, 37, and 5 against the spread. The numbers just become inflated against them because it's hard to get the public to bet on them. They just lost by 5 touchdowns. Nobody wants anything to do with them. So I'm all in on the Dolphins. Sell high on the Raiders, buy low on the Dolphins. That's my pick of the week.
Hughes?
So I like to get on the lines, early. I gave out a teaser that is no longer really available anymore because the lines have moved. And this is kind of why I, kind of mentioned this before. On Sunday, and I love doing 6-point teasers. On Sunday, you could have gotten the Buccaneers at +1.5 against the Rams. You 6-point tease that to 7.5, which is a very enticing number for the Buccaneers because now they're favored. Now they're -1.5 favorite. So you're not going to get that enticing number anymore. And getting the Cardinals when it was at -7, it has now moved to -8 against the Jaguars. You get them down to just basically winning the game to -1. That was my favorite teaser that has been placed days ago, but you're not getting that anymore. I still think it's worth looking at. Obviously, with the Buccaneers, you're not really looking to go through the number like that because that's not really the point. But you get them now at +4.5 instead of the -1.5, but you get the Cardinals at -2. But I think it's important to look at those lines early. If you want to do something different, and this is one that I do like as well, and this is moving a little bit too, you can take the Ravens at -8, and you can take the Broncos. Tease that one. Now you get the Ravens at -2. You get the Broncos at -4.5. Both of these teams should be crushing the other. So I don't mind these numbers. -2, -4.5. Odd numbers, like weird numbers, right? But there's no reason for me why they both don't cover that. So 6-point teasers are safer than parlays. All you parlay fanatics, I'm with you. I get it. Nothing else better than hitting a parlay. But if you want to go a little bit of a safer route, you got to look at the teasers.
Some of the news and notes going into the weekend as they stand right now, obviously, injury reports have come out here, it being Friday. So Tua, as we know, is not going to play. Jacoby Brissett will be in there. Russell Gage is out for the Falcons, the receiver. Andy Dalton not playing for the Bears. Justin Fields will get his first career start. A lot of people are excited about that. Guys that are doubtful. T. Higgins, doubtful for the Bengals. Josh Jacobs, as we learned this afternoon, is doubtful for the Raiders. Guys that are questionable. Evan Ingram, Kenny Golladay. Let's see. DeAndre
How about
Swift
Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin Cook, I was just going to say, is a game time decision right now, along with DeAndre Hopkins, Carson Wentz, Jamison Crowder. Dalvin Cook's interesting. How, if heaven forbid, for any of you like season long people out there, if Dalvin Cook doesn't play this weekend, how good a play is Madison going to be for daily? Is he going to be in virtually every lineup? Not literally, obviously, but how chalky is chalky going to be for Alexander Madison?
I don't think he's going to be.
Yeah,
DraftKings has seen this coming. He's 6K this week, so he is not, like a free pivot into the starting lineup. Like, you still have to pay a nearly top 10 running back salary for him this week. So I'm not saying he can't deliver at that price tag, but he's also not a lock. I think his ownership stays pretty reasonable. That said, I'm pretty confident that Dalvin Cook plays. The team doesn't
even after not practicing all week.
Yeah.
You
I
too?
agree. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play, honestly.
All right. Interesting thing to monitor, obviously, going into the weekend. We've got...
You guys ever watch Hamilton?
No.
Like on Disney Plus or on Broadway? Or either one? No, I haven't.
On Broadway?
So why'd you ask? Why couldn't you just say no?
I wanted to know if you thought I was sophisticated.
We definitely know you don't have the money for that. I know that for sure.
All right, moving on.
I can't remember the last time I left this basement.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, God. Always a pleasure hanging out with you dopes. Okay. Go back, review the show. You got about roughly an hour until lineups lock in baseball. There's a lot of good information from the diamond that we threw at you, mainly these guys over the course of the last hour. So do go back, check it out. YouTube, Twitch. I don't think you can review on Twitch, but YouTube and obviously Twitter, you can find us. And the Slate comes your way Monday through Friday, this same time after the 4 o'clock sim, right around 5 o'clock Eastern time. The Sweat Monday through Friday, Sundays as well. A lot of content getting you ready for the Sunday slate in the NFL coming up Sunday from the DK studios. So LaMarca, Bukes, best of luck with your bets tonight and through the weekend, and look forward to catching up again, fellas. Sure.
Bye.
Undercover boss Tom Amon. Thank you, fellas. We'll catch you guys soon.